Hello, good morning. Welcome to Saturday morning meditation. Apologies for the late start today. We're going to begin by saying 3 7-line prayer. Organ yoginum jansam bemage sardombola yatsen jogging orubne bemajone jesurak ordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesu dak druki jinji lop chia sheksu so guru pama city home. Organ yoginum jansam pemage sardombola yatsen chogi ngorubne pemajune jesurak ordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesu dak druki jinji lok chia sheksu so guru pama city home. Organ yoginum jansam pemage sardombola yatsen chogi ngodrubne pemajone jesura ordu kandro mangpokor ketki jesu dak druki jinji lop chia sheksu so guru pama city home. Right, so let's take a moment to remember our motivation for being here today and generate compassion. So whenever we begin an activity, it's very important to begin by generating compassion for all sentient beings and establishing a pure motivation. The prayer that we just said is the prayer to Guru Rinpoche or Padmasambhava, who was the founder of Tibetan Buddhism. He brought Buddhism to Tibet, and he is regarded as the second Buddha. And he taught that he said that the person who has aroused bodhicitta, this compassionate wish to free all sentient beings from suffering, the person who has aroused bodhicitta will cultivate the feeling of equality that all beings are his mothers, free from partiality and prejudice in order to serve all sentient beings. Of all sentient beings, there's not a single one who has not been our own mother or father. So as a way of repaying the kindness of all sentient beings, set out to work for their well-being. So even when we are doing a meditation practice, something that may seem self-serving, we start by, or that in our culture is often self-serving, we always start by generating compassion for all sentient beings. So let's do that now. And we can make the wish that our meditation together today will bring immeasurable benefit to not only ourselves, but to all sentient beings. So the meditation that we'll be doing today is called Shamatha meditation or Shine meditation. It translates basically to calm abiding meditation, or chilled out meditation. So what we are doing is we are chilling out the habitual tendencies of our mind. So Jetsma has taught that meditation is the natural state of mind when it's relaxed, stable, and open. And when we do this Shamatha meditation, it trains our mind to be calm and relaxed while also being alert and wakeful. And the point of this meditation is to create space in the mind. Creating space in the mind helps us to balance our emotions. We start to be able to see that we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. And we start being able to identify with the awareness that sees the thoughts and emotions instead of the thoughts and emotions themselves. That helps us to balance our emotions, to be able to work with our emotions in a more constructive way, to use the energy of our emotions for the benefit of others instead of falling into destructive anger or despair. And this little bit of space also gives us time between action and reaction. We're not so caught up in our thoughts and emotions and habits that we are acting compulsively. We have space in which to see those compulsions, those habitual compulsions arise, and to choose what we want to do instead of just being swept away by them. And this little bit of space, it's also the first step in the development of bodhicitta, which, as we said, is the compassionate wish to free all sentient beings from suffering. So we start our practice by arousing bodhicitta, but also by practicing this meditation practice, we get better at arousing bodhicitta. It helps. It gives us space in which that compassion and wisdom can arise. So we can take a comfortable seat. Let me get my timer here. So we'll take a comfortable seat. You can sit in a chair or cross-legged on the floor and place your hands in your lap, gently relaxed. Check in with your posture. You want to sit straight up. Your spine is like a stack of coins. Your shoulders are back and open. Your elbows are out a bit. So you have a lot of space around your rib cage to breathe. Your eyes will remain open, looking downwards. And you can imagine a line following the bridge of your nose, down, down, down to the ground. And then just find a point along this line where it's comfortable to rest your gaze. And then lastly, place the tip of your tongue gently behind your front teeth. It's like saying the letter L. And allow yourself to relax completely and breathe normally. Just breathe in your natural rhythm. And then put a very light attention on your breathing. Don't try to control it at all. Just breathe naturally with the most gossamer thin attention on your breath. It's like taking your pulse. You don't try to change it in any way. You don't put any pressure on it. Just observe it. Your attention is like a feather, gently riding on the surface of your breath. When thoughts come up, just let them go like bubbles popping on the surface of a pond. Don't look to see what they are. Don't check to see if it's a good thought or a bad thought. Your meditation is not lost by hearing your thoughts, but by following them down the road. So when you find yourself following a thought, just drop it and return to that single pointed concentration on the breath. And if it's difficult for you to dismiss your thoughts, you can imagine picking them up with tongs and dropping them, or cutting them up with scissors and throwing them away. But just return again and again to that gossamer thin attention on your breath. So we'll meditate for 5 minutes and then take a break and then meditate for longer. Here we go. first round of meditation. So when we are meditating, we have all sorts of thoughts that come up and come into our mind. And it's our habit to judge those thoughts that come up and to make judgments about our thoughts, judgments about our emotions, judgments about ourselves, judgments about whatever's going on in our environment. So Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche has talked about how our minds tend to act like restless birds. They're always flying around, flying from branch to branch, or flying down to the ground and then up into another tree. And in this analogy, the tree and the branches and the grounds, those represent all of the demands that we receive from our five senses, as well as our thoughts and emotions. And we're so interested and attracted to these thoughts and emotions and our senses. It's just, there's always stuff going on. There's always stuff going on inside or around us. And so this little bird of our mind just can't settle down. It's just always like flitting about while our senses are overloaded, and our thoughts and emotions demand our attention, and it becomes very difficult to just be relaxed and focused. So when we practice this Shamatha meditation, we are helping that little bird chill out and rest. This practice is very restful for the mind. So most of us, when we look at something, when we hear something, we see something, when we notice a thought or emotion, we have some kind of judgment about that. And the way that our judgments happen, we either have there's like categories of judgments. We either have the I like it branch, the I don't like it branch, or the I don't know branch. The bad branch, the pleasant branch, then each of those branches spread out into like sub branches, little twigs. So then you've got the good twig, bad twig, pleasant twig, unpleasant twig. I like it because twig. I don't like it because twig. It could be good or bad twig. It could be nice or not twig. It could be good or bad, unpleasant or pleasant. And then it could be neither good nor bad, pleasant nor unpleasant. So there's all of these different judgments that we might have. All these are the different paths that our judgment might take. And each of these possibilities of all these different branches, those are all possibilities for the bird to land on. They tempt the little bird to flutter from branch to branch. I like it. I don't like it. Well, it could be good. It could be bad. I don't like it because of blah, blah, blah. We flip between all of these things, investigating each one. So when we're practicing this meditation, we're letting go of those judgments and opinions, and we just look at whatever we can see from whatever branch we're on, instead of flitting around to look at this or look at that and to judge this in this way and judge this in that way. We just stay on one branch. We just look at the branch in front of us or the leaf in front of us, and we pay attention to its shape or color, or in the example of meditating on our breath, just resting our mind on the breath. We're just paying attention to the one thing, resting. That is so restful for the mind, because this poor little bird has been flying around for a very long time and it's exhausted. I think when we check in with ourselves, we can feel how exhausted we are by this constant mental activity. So that's why this meditation feels so healing. But then also, when we attend to our experience in this way, when we just pay attention to just what we're seeing, this allows us to distinguish our judgments and our opinions from the simple experience of seeing. And so, in most cases, our experiences are conditioned by our opinions and our judgments about what's going on around us. But if we can just look at our experience directly and see it as it is, without imbuing it with stories and judgments and opinions, see things as they are without getting it mixed up with our judgments about how things are, um, then we open ourselves up to the possibility of bypassing our habits, our habitual ideas, our habitual emotions, and our habitual responses. And instead, we can respond freshly to whatever is actually going on and to respond to the experience we are having, and not some compilation of experiences in our head that we're comparing it to, or uh, you know combining it with, and reacting to our own stories about something. We can actually see things for what they are and respond to those. So that is extremely helpful for just navigating life in general. Um, so that's uh, so when we're meditating, instead of identifying with our thoughts and emotions, we are identifying with our uh, awareness and with the clarity of our inherent Buddha nature. We all have the capacity, we all have the Buddha nature, the seed of Buddhahood within us. And with that, we have the capacity to see and to recognize that we're seeing, without any concepts and ideas attached to it, clouding what we're seeing. So we always have this clarity, even when we're not conscious of it. But like when you become aware of being hungry, or you become aware that you're tired, or when you notice that there's a traffic jam up ahead, or you look in your fridge and you can tell the difference between a a block of cheese and a block of salami. Like you can tell the difference between them. Um, Without clarity, you wouldn't be able to do that. So you have clarity. Um, without that clarity, you wouldn't be able to think or feel or perceive anything. And this practice, this meditation practice, helps us to develop and to appreciate that inherent clarity that we all have. So, so now we can do a longer meditation. One other thing I wanted to share, just one short little quote, which is that Yangye Mingyur Rinpoche says that meditation is about learning to recognize our basic goodness in the immediacy of the present moment, and then nurturing this recognition until it seeps into the very core of our being. So learning to recognize our basic goodness in the immediacy of the present moment. So as you're meditating, and you thoughts are coming up, because that's our habit for thoughts to come up, you know, we tend to judge ourselves. There's a good thought, there's a bad thought. I'm a good person, I'm a bad person for thinking this. I'm a bad person for not being, good at this, good at meditating. I can't focus. We have all these judgments. So, so this is really a practice of non-judgment, and of tapping into that, recognizing that we are basically good. We all have inherent Buddha nature, and we are connecting with that by connecting with our inherent quality of clarity and awareness. So, so let's try meditating again. Sit with a straight back. Spine is like a stack of coins. Hands are in your lap. Eyes are gazing downwards, following the line of your nose. And allow yourself to relax completely and breathe naturally. Just relax into your natural rhythm of breath. And then put a very light attention on your breathing. Don't try to control it at all. Just breathe as you normally would, with the most gossamer thin attention on your breath. Your attention is like a feather, gently riding on the surface of your breath. Okay, so that is our meditation for today. At the end of class, we always close with a dedication prayer to seal in the blessing of our practice. So we are going to do that now. Throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I have accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice, and all that I will ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May I clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas altogether, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I, who have come in the same way to benefit beings, pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. All right. Thank you for coming.